Hi guys, welcome to our first Java program within this course. In our previous tutorial, we introduced the outline about this course and some of the projects we will provide you. And we said we have about 24 big projects to do within this course. And we also introduced the breadth of Java in our previous tutorial, how Java started and everything. So if you're just getting started with us in this tutorial, you might want to watch our previous tutorial as we move along. We also said that if you just begin your programming career or you have been programming before in Java or other programming language and you want to improve your skills within the Java programming language, our content within this course is fully across the board. We provide you everything from start to end and all of the basics, the introductions and everything. We provide you the fundamental basis you need to improve your programming skills within the Java programming language. So you don't need to worry about anything. Once you watch the content we provide you and you do all of the exercises, the project, you fully understand and what we are doing here. We also says that if you need any of the source code and maybe some of the project we do and you have some challenges, we can provide you with the source code of those projects. You don't need to worry. All you need to do is subscribe to our channel as we move along. Okay, so having said that, we got our empty class, our empty project folder. So here I also show how to download these compilers, the IntelliJ compiler, the NetBeans, and that of the Eclipse compiler. And we said that at most cases we will use the IntelliJ compiler and the Eclipse compiler. The IntelliJ will be used for our CLI application command line interface, and we use the server-based applications. Doing that, we will use the Eclipse compiler. So this is the interface of the IntelliJ compiler. We also show you how to download it. So okay, so you come here and you click new and you create an empty project. You give the name of your project. For me, I've already created an empty project. And you come to the source folder, you create your Java class. Okay, we come here, we click new and we click Java class. Now we give the name of our Java class, right? So we say Word. Good, and we click enter. Okay, so here we have this. Now we will expand this so you can see it clear, and we close this a little bit. Good. And I know a lot of us out there that we are very fast in typing and like we want the typing skills to be fast, I know, but since this course is fully across the board, we will take our time to do everything so that others out there can understand exactly what we're doing, because we have achievement attached to this course so that everyone who comes across this course with the purpose of learning Java can understand exactly what we're doing here and achieve something. Okay, so here we got our empty class, hello world. This is the public class and we got the name of our class. We name it word. The next thing we want to do is to create our entry point to our Java program. So we click this, we click enter. In between here we write our entry point to our Java program. We say public static void main, we got string, args, and we got this. Good. So this is our entry point to our Java program. This is our entry point to our Java program. This is our public class. This is the name of our class, and this is our entry point, our public static main method. Good. The next thing we want to do is to create our statement. So we come here, we say south. Good. Now there are some tactics we will show you and you make you to understand how essential this IntelliJ compiler is and as compared to other compiler, because if you have a huge line of code to write, there are some abbreviations we can write here easily and we move along. So if you want to write like system.out.println, system dot out, this should be system dot out dot print in. Okay, so alright, so this is actually what I was after. Good. So this, you don't really need to write all of these things. Probably you have a lot of them to write, so you just come here and you write south. Good, and you click enter and you have this. So there are some keywords we will show you within this compiler and how to use them, and if you have a lot of code to write, right? So now, having said that, we got this here, system.out.println, and the next thing we want to do is to write our output statement. So we say hello world. Good, right? So I'm using hello world because it's fundamentally used in the introductions of most programs. Good. So we got here hello world, and we try to run it to see the result first before we go into the explanations of what all of these things means, what are their importance within the Java programming language. Alright, so we come here, we run it now, right? And we are waiting for our result. So it is processing. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now this is the output, and this has been changed to a bytecode. So this is the output, right? Good. So now we have written our first Java program within this course, and we had to understand what these things mean. So as we move along, we can know how to use them and what purpose we can use them for, right? So but before then, let's come here to our PPT, our PowerPoint, and understand what these things mean, right? So we come here and we open our PowerPoint. Good. Now the same program we had before, the public static void, public class, we got the name void, and we got public static void main string array system.out.println hello world, right? Now we got our class. What is our class? Like at most cases, people usually define class like an object. Like class is like an object or constructor or a blueprint for or object, right? For creating your object. Probably you want to create an object, so class represent a blueprint of creating an object. So it is a keyword used within Java and is declared in Java for another class, right? Or for itself. So the next thing we have here, we got public. And what is a public? Public is a keyword. This keyword usually represents an access modifier, which means it is visible to all. So that's what I said, that is like an entry to a Java program, because it gives everything wherein other classes can have access with it. So once you declare the class as public class, that means you telling the program or the compiler that like other classes can have access to what I have created, and this is visible to all. Then we got static, right? What is static? Or static is usually named as a static method within Java. Okay, now this keyword declare any method as static in Java and usually named as static. Yes, this like static. Okay, the main advantage of the static method is that there is absolutely no need to create an object or invoke a static method, right? So when you create a static method, there is no need to create an object, and the more essence of creating a static method is to save more memories. So to save more memories of the computer. But as we move along, we will apply that, you will see. And in computer science, there is something we call computer science, and precisely in the course of data structure, there is something we call time complexity, and it's very important. If you comes across these things, you understand like what makes the computer to give this result at this time and what makes the computer to give the result at another time different, and they are the same like program you run, and what the output and the time like is quite different sometimes. And Java usually used for maybe statistic calculations, and like Java is used for a scientific experiment. So sometimes like the results are very different and the time complexity is very different. So if you're using a static method, it helps you to save more memories, right? It helps you to save more memory, and as if you have more memory, like the operations of the computer become very faster, you know. All right, so let's say if you have more tasks, just like if someone put a huge bag or some loads of bags on your back, right? Your motions, your movement, and they ask you to walk this distance or walk maybe 20 miles distance, right? You cannot walk faster because like you have a huge task on you, right? But in case if the bag, they are less big, they are putting on your back or like they are putting in your hands, your movement will be very fast because like you don't have much weight. So a static method helps to create more memory within the computer, right? It helps to save more memories, just like I said here. Okay, and it's usually used with the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine. We introduced it in our previous tutorial, so you can watch our previous tutorial to understand some of these things as we move along. All right, the next thing we want to know is the void. What is void? Void is like a return statement or a return value within the Java program, and also like what make void different, like in C++, there are like a little similarities in a sense, but like as usual most people say is like the attitude of void is quite different. But at times goes back, myself, I want to try that. I want to try like some other like experiment, can I say experiment, within the Java program to see the attitude of these things and the difference, because like in most cases I always think like they have similar relationship with a return value, like that, like see out and you want to return some set of value, but in Java so I will check that. But void is actually a return value within the Java program. And as we move along, okay, then we got the main. So what a main is, or everything that we say here is concerning the main, because like is it represents the starting point of the program. So everything you want to do, you have to start, right? Anything, absolutely, you have to start from somewhere. So the main actually represent the starting entry, the entry point of the program, right? Good. Now we got the string args, right? So what is all about? It is mainly used for command line argument. So for some command line argument or some command line statement, you use string args. Alright. And the next thing now we want to understand is system.out.println. What is this used for? In most cases, it is used to print statement. It is used to print result. So in Java, system.out.println statement is usually used to print result. Okay. Now, the next thing now I want you to understand is what happens under the computer architecture. Because like as a programmer or as a scientist, probably like whatsoever name it is quite good, I agree. But the main sense about this is that it's good to understand what happens under the architecture of the computer, so that you can know how to use your computer, and at some point you will really need to understand these things. So we bring these things to you in this tutorial, and we bring so many of it in this tutorial. And like if you run your program, like you write your Java source code, right? The next thing you do is in the process of running, when you click the run and it compile, the compiler have access to it, and then it sent the result to a bytecode. Because in computer usually like and not usually is just something that is known, and computer like read in 0 and 1, right? And then like it convert the informations to a human readable language, or human readable language. So the computer, what happens under the computer architecture is like 0 and 1, and the information is converted to a bytecode. So if we write hello world, or hello I'm going to school, hello she is going to school, like all this kind of thing, hello how are you, all these things, they are all bytecode. It represents certain byte or certain digits of number, like bit, certain amount of bit within the computer architecture, right? Now, with us seeing that result to interact with the computer, like as a human readable language, and interact with the computer interface, good, the GUI of the computer. So that happens, and it convert it after the compiler have like read it, and then through the architectural work, the relationship between the compiler and that of the computer architecture is converted to a bytecode. So this actually what happens under the computer architecture. Now, the next thing we want to show you is like when you write your classes and you write your program within Java, what happens to, how all of these things happens for us to get a result. Because it's very important that you understand these things. Once you are writing a program and you coming to do some project, you also understand how to get your result, and what your result, your computer is not compiling your program, and what are the challenges. So this is why we're introducing these things to you. Okay, so when you write your program, like now we write our program, we write our class file. What we did first, we created our class, right? And then we write our information within our class file. Now, the next thing is we send it through the process of running the program, right? We send it to a class loader. Within the compiler, we send it to a class loader. Once you click run, that process happens, but you won't see the interactions. You won't see it physically, but it happens within the underlying architectures of the computer. And we got bytecode access. So is the class loader converted to the bytecode access under the computer architecture. And the next thing happens is you got an interpreter, right? You got an interpreter which translate the information. So after it has been converted to a bytecode so that the computer can understand what you have written, and that interaction happens between the compiler of the program and the computer architecture. Then it output it into our interpreter, right, or human readable language. But it doesn't still happen that quickly. There are other processes that it goes through. So it goes through a runtime process. That's why I said and I discussed about time complexity. Time complexity is very important. Once you are doing like you are handling a huge data, or you are handling a huge amount of code, and you want the result, you want certain result at certain time, and you need like how to manage your time. So depending on what you write. So that's why I said in some scientific experiment, when you write your Java code with some scientific experiment, the result takes a couple of days. It takes sometimes like 72 hours, sometimes it takes like 24 hours to get your result. Not those ordinary program that we write. Some scientific experiment program takes a lot of time. So if you really understand what happens, the underlying architecture of the computer, then you don't need to catch difficulties. You know how to manage your time. Okay. Now, the next thing that happens is it goes straight to the hard work of the computer, and then from the hard work directly it comes to us, which give us the output, and but that process happens very fast. That's why the computer is very unique. That process happens very fast. But nevertheless, it also depends your memory. It depends your RAM. It depends the architecture of your computer. So if your computer is not very equipped with more capacity, like the space, RAM, and then some other thing required to run your system very fast, then you will have challenges about seeing your output quickly. So there are some projects we will do, and it will take your computer to load. Like there are some web project applications connecting server and database together, all those things. You need to understand these things so that you can do all of these things all by yourself and achieve some of the goal we have within this course. Okay, so lastly, this is all for this course. Like we said, we have explained the details of all of these things, but just in case if you also have some information regarding these things and you want to ask, you can also comment below. We respond to you. And this is all for this course as we move to our next topic in this course. So we got a lot of topics within this course, and we also have our project to do. Like I said, click the notifications button to stay notified, and click the subscription button so that when we post new video you can get